So I tabulated your responses to the first set of checkpoints, the things I asked you to do before the course really began, and those scores are in the Grade Center. But I want to give you all some responses to these. So here's the set of checkpoints. There were 5 of them. And so, we're going to go through them in order. I'm going to use a prettier color. The first one, start a new thread to introduce yourself in the Where in the World discussion. So this is a typical checkpoint thing. There is a particular reason for doing it. That is, you're going to introduce yourself, okay? And you're going to manifest that with a new thread in the Where in the World discussion. Okay, so most of you were able to do that, and some of you included photos and other information. That was really great. Notice that I did ask you to start a new thread. So that does not mean reply to the thread that I started. That means start a new one. 4 of you have those threads, maybe 5 now. If you did not create your own thread but rather replied to one, you still need to do that because we're going to use those threads again. Okay. Now let's look at the other one that had to do with that same Where in the World discussion. This one, which was to respond to a particular thread, the Got Your Kit thread. Got Your Kit thread. So there you were asking to respond to that, and quite a few people have done that. Let's see, how many? 2 did it on time. 3 folks were late. 2 people haven't done that yet. But again, think about what I'm trying to have you do. I'm trying to make sure that you have obtained your kit. That was the reason for that. And then there's an evidence with a photograph of you with the kit. This also showed me that you can post a photograph. So that's good. That's something that we'll do a lot of. If you had problems with it going sideways or something like that, well, maybe you need to figure out how to handle that. Again, this was going on in the Where in the World discussions, which is where I'll ask you to put things often, either in a new thread like this or in your own thread, the thread where you introduced yourself, in that one. Okay? So let's clear off that. So those were 2 of the things. That was checkpoint 1 and checkpoint 3. Next one, also in the discussions, but now in a different discussion, in the Today I Learned discussion. That one is really an important one. I'll get the hang of this. The Today I Learned discussion is probably where you will spend the most substantial work. I ask you to respond to a particular prompt, that is the Before This Course Begins prompt, where I ask you things about your experience with hardware, specifically digital hardware, your experience with software, and your experience with independent learning. The intention in each one of these, in each one of the TIL prompts, TIL responses, is that you'll do some thinking about it, and then you will respond to that. I will post a video about the way to use that discussion board because some of you clearly don't understand that yet. So that was the second one, and of that, everybody, all but one, responded to that, but I don't see that you're using the prompts yet, so I'll come back to that later. Okay, Now let's talk about the last two, which use the journals section. I have posted a video about the journals section and how to use that, but I ask you to do two things in there. One, start your own log for your work sessions. I want everybody to log every work session that you spend on this course, and I gave you some indications of what the format should be for that. I gave you extensive examples of how I'm using that tool, so make sure that you explore that in the journal section and get that habit in mind. So of that, only two have started your own log. So by the end of today, you definitely should have that started. And then the last thing that I asked you to do was to download the appropriate version, whether it's Mac or PC or Linux or something else, of the software that we're going to use, and document that with a screenshot. So again, I'm asking, just like I ask a photograph for proof that you could post a photograph, I ask that you could both take and provide a screenshot. So you need to know how to take a screenshot on your own computer, and you need to know how to post that. I strongly recommend you figure out how to do that in a regular way. So obviously the only people that could do that were the people who had created journals. So you had to have done only two of you had done that. And so I'm still looking for those things. So you can see those remarks, those scores in the Grade Center, but these remarks apply to that whole set.